So Mr. Vasishta, you can join now. So welcome, Mr. Vasishta Kumar. So Vasishta has just completed his PGP from IIM Bangalore, and he's a computer science engineer from NIT Bhopal. So basically very typical profile, computer science, engineering, NIT, and then with IIMs. So Mr. Vasishta, right now you have how many, what is the audience number? So we have more than 600 people have already joined. So it would be, I think, turning to be 1,000 or more than that, I think. 2,000 usually it reaches. Let's see how it goes today. So, Mr. Vashish, most of this audience would be the people who would be preparing for CAT 2025. Okay, so they would like a holistic as well as the sectional as the way you want to carry it. It's your will. So I would be switching off my audio and the video, and you are on your own. Okay. So any help you need, you can always ping me. Right?
Sure. Can I start?
You can.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the warm introduction. So, just reiterating, I did my bachelor's from NIT Bhopal in computer science and engineering. I'm a 2020 grad. Post my bachelor's, I worked as a full stack developer in Publicis Sapient for 1.5 years. Later, I worked at Oracle as an IT consultant. And then from 2023 to 2025, I pursued my MBA in IIM Bangalore. So since we are done with my introduction, I'll just go through the agenda or how I would be talking today. Firstly, I'd be talking about what was the reason that I pursued to do an MBA. Then I'll be going through my journey. So it was not a straightforward single attempt for me. I was able to go into IIM Bangalore in my third attempt. And then how did everything start? Then we'll deep dive into each section, what worked, what didn't work, and what tips I followed, and some generic tips at the end. So firstly, why did I do MBA and the decision behind doing it? So right after my bachelor's, I started working as a full stack developer for a US e-commerce client. So there were many requests coming for me that we need to implement this, we need to implement that. But whenever there is a reason I asked, so that is beyond my purview as a developer. So I understood to understand the business impact or why companies are taking some decisions. I found that an MBA is needed. Even I spoke with different friends who are pursuing MBA right out as freshers during that time. So that made sense to me that with MBA, it could be easy for me to understand the business scope and to go to the leadership positions. And then coming to my journey, it has not been straightforward. The initial attempt was in 2020. I went into IIM Bangalore in my third attempt in 2022. So initially, I only scored 97% in my first attempt. Then it even dipped a bit to 94 percentile. And I got into IIM Bangalore at an attempt of 99.53. So I'll just briefly tell you what went wrong at each steps. So initially during my first attempt, I didn't have enough time to prepare. So it was a time where I took a decision that I need to do an MBA, but I don't have enough time to prepare every chapter or write a sufficient mocks because there was even the company onboarding thing. And during the second mock, I think I prepared well. I wrote many mocks. I actually used to prepare every day. I even have sufficient time to prepare, but I took too much pressure to myself that I need to prove myself this time. But somehow on the D day, I fumbled and I was not able to prove to the large extent. But somehow in the third attempt, things worked out for me and I joined IIM Bangalore. So I was able to crack Bangalore, Lucknow, and Kozhikode out of the top 5 IIMs. And how did it start? Once the idea for me came that I should pursue an MBA, I just attempted a previous year mock. I spoke with some of the seniors who were pursuing back then. Then they advised me that write a mock of previous year's paper first, then to assess your strengths. Then I understood that I know that I am always okay with numbers, so I performed fairly well in DLR and Quant, but I didn't perform very well in VARC. So, and also given the vast syllabus of Quant and DILR, I understood that something systematic approach is needed, and that's when I understood that okay, some coaching would be helpful, because once I join a coaching, there would be a systematic approach of each chapter, how much time to spend, and a dedicated day, so that I could spend every on the day to prepare problems on it. So yeah, that's when I enrolled for an online coaching during 2020, when it's completely pandemic. And then during that time, I even joined my first company, and tried to balance both of this. Even while completing the whole syllabus, I started to give my mocks, and then that's how it went. And since we already know, I'll be deep diving into the three sections that are present for the CAT. So firstly, coming to VRC section. So this is my weakest forte, and also I think most of the engineers, this is the section where they used to face difficulty. And coming from an engineering background, it also felt that reading RCs and solving them was never easy for me. So um, I would suggest for people whoever are attempting CAT now or in 2025 or further upon, it's you won't find results immediately for VRC. You should start slowly. You should be, if you are habituated with reading articles or with reading essays, then it's good. But if you aren't, then I would suggest you to start reading articles that are published in the Hindu or any newspaper. This is definitely a starting stone where you could easily get habituated to reading more and more things. Even once you start reading with the Hindu or some any other newspaper, I would suggest you to move to Eon, where you could read different essays in different topics. So in CAT paper, when you come to RCs, there will be different topics that we are tested on. So sometimes the RCs might be present on technology, sometimes the RC might be present on psychology, finance. So as a computer science graduate, I always found it easy when there is an RC present on technology. So if there is any RC present on technology, I used to easily sail that RC. I enjoyed reading it. But I found that when reading an RC on psychology, let's say, since I don't have much interest or I don't have any grip on that topic, I used to feel bored after reading one or two passages, and the intensity with which I used to start that RC would not be present at the end. So I felt that somewhere I need to get habituated reading these long essays, since generally there will be around 6 to 7 paragraphs. So that's when I started reading Eon. There I used to read different essays based on different topics. Even though in the initial days it used to be very difficult for me to understand what that they are trying to say, I used to make sure that at least I read one essay every day, so that at the end of the day I used to get habituated to it. And meanwhile, I'll also cover what you need to do during your mocks or during the D-Day. So I would say when you're starting your VRC paper, even if you start with VA or RCs, I would say to uh, just skim through each RC first. So this is what worked for me. Instead of targeting one RC, let's say you read one RC, I would suggest you to read all four once, at least the 1 to 2 paragraph, until when you get the gist of what the author is trying to say. Based on that, I would advise you to pick. So sometimes it might fail, but it worked for me most of the times. And I would also say don't stuck on one RC for too long. Let's say you spent 6 to 7 minutes. And there are four questions under that RC. And if you are able to only solve two, I would say to move on. Don't waste too much of time. This is always CAT is always a game of time. If you start spending too much time on a single RC, remember that you are always losing time. So it's a limited time game where you'll be having only 40 minutes. So just don't play with the ego that you already spent 8 minutes that, and you would be willing to spend 2 more minutes. If the time is running out, it's better to go and leave the question. And coming to a mocks, I would always say experiment with what strategies should be going ahead. Don't always feel that, okay, I would be attempting 3 RCs and I would be attempting this many VA questions. Experiment different strategies. you would understand what works for you. Sometimes one time I completely worked on in one mock, I completely wrote only RCs. And then I understood that that paper has some easy VA questions which I could attempt. Sometimes I used to start VA first and then RCs next. But with time, I understood that what strategy works for me. So always take that mocks are the same for you. So try to try to use different strategies, and you will able to identify what works best for you. And and also that in the actual paper, I most of the times I felt, since I gave 3 attempts, in all the 3 attempts I felt VA to be relatively easy compared to the mocks I used to write. So, and also, even if you have, let's say, 3, 4 minutes or 4, 5 minutes left, where you are not confident that you could complete an RC, I would suggest that go to VA. And since it's a single question and it doesn't have any negative mark, do an intelligent based guess. If you are down to 2 options, if you don't have time, you can keep one answer and it might get right. So when you're short on time, always go to VA and try to put an intelligent guess since it doesn't have a negative mark. And coming to DILR, I think being an engineer and my father being a lecturer, maths lecturer, I was always habituated with numbers, and I always felt DLR and Quant are something which is very easy to me. But one thing that definitely plays out in DLR is the time factor. So you'd be having only 40 minutes, and you'd be getting, during our time it used to be 4 sets, but now I think these days they are giving 5 sets. So even if you're able to solve 3 sets, it would be well and good. So what worked what I did for DLR is initially I used to see just the online classes of different chapters present or different models that might be present. And I also saw various different CAT papers to understand what type of questions that I can expect. And even during the mocks, if I found some set which is not normal set and also which I found very good, I used to make note of it, or I used to take screenshots of that set so that I could revise these sets later. And even the same suggestions work for DLR. In DLR, try to skim through the set and you'll easily understand whether you'll be able to do it fastly or not. Let's say it's some DI set, you would be easily able to play with the numbers, you could do it quick. And I would also suggest that don't waste too much time on a particular set if you know it's very easy. So let's say it's a DI set and you know you could solve it straightforward. So try to save 1 minute, 2 minute by being fast. The every minute which you save, you could put on different set. And the only thing I feel which works for DLR is practice, practice, practice. So just practice more and more different models and all these things. And the same thing that I fumbled in DLR is it was during my second CAT attempt where I put too much pressure on myself that I should anyway solve three questions, 3 sets even before seeing the paper. I was so strong in my mind that I should do it at any cost. But somehow the DLR paper turned very tough. Even if you were able to do 2 sets, I would have qualified that year. But with this pressure in my mind, I was not able to even do 2 sets completely. So always keep that, go with the flow. Don't have any pre-assumptions that you need to solve this many questions. And coming to the last section, quant. So it's something with a different difficult place for non-engineers, but for engineers, I think you'd be easily able to do 7 to 8 questions easily. But with time, I would suggest engineers to try and attempt at least 12 questions out of 22. Once you solve 12, 13, you'd be easily getting a good percentile, about 97, 98. And for me, what worked in quant is uh, I didn't specifically spend too much time in quant since mocks. And whenever I used to find any good questions in any mocks, I used to note down in a notes and I used to revise them even before the exam and also even before the actual CAT exam. And whenever you're writing mocks, identify the what is the weakest chapter you're feeling. And during your weekdays when you're not writing mocks or preparing for the CAT, just thoroughly practice these chapters. And the same thing works for quant, even just practice, practice, practice. it might not be the most the number of questions, but it should be the different models that you are touching. So I'll just end with the different tips what worked for me. So I would suggest everyone to be consistent. Even if you're going through different classes, or even if you're having work every day, you're working, I would suggest to be consistent. Either read some article in the newspaper, or I used to read FinShots, or I used to write daily tests. So just be consistent. Don't give a break during this process. It will definitely interrupt the flow. And I used to also read FinShots and newspaper articles. It definitely helped me to build a perspective. And at the later stages, it helped me definitely in my interviews to have a firm belief regarding some opinion and where I could talk about it. And especially for working folks, I would say prepare a timetable. Spend at least 1 to 2 hours of your daily time. Uh, Either write a mock on Saturday or Sunday. And uh, when you're writing a mock, what is important is you always need to analyze it. It does not depend on how many mocks you write. Even the mock is for 2 hours. It's okay even if you spend 4 to 6 hours in analyzing the paper. It's always important that you analyze the paper properly. And also, since it's a long journey, somewhere you would be bored with the journey. You would be you would be in you would not be having a partner. I used to have my friend with we used to prepare. It was even in his third attempt, he went into FMS. So always try to find some study partner where you have the same goal, and make sure that he or she is also serious towards the CAT exam. And also experiment in mocks. Don't hesitate. Don't straightforward put one approach that only this would be the approach I'd be going ahead with. And coming to the number of hours, different individuals would be coming and asking how many hours is needed. I would say it differs from individual to individual. And if you're working, it's better that with when you write a mock, you will understand that how many hours are needed for you. So it's up to individual basis. And don't expect that the results should be immediate. It will definitely be it will definitely not be immediate. It was my third attempt, and it was not an easy journey for me too. Even I want to give up at some time. And be patient. And the learning curve would definitely be exponential, not a linear thing. It would somewhere you would see you'd be improving over time. And one important tip which I found very helpful is try to simulate the experience which you'd be writing on the D-Day. So when you're writing a mock, you'd be just coming to the laptop and starting a mock immediately. But on the D-Day, you should be sitting in front of your monitor at least for 30-40 minutes. So at least for the 4 or 5 mocks before you're writing the CAT exam, sit it before the laptop or your computer for 1 hour ideally, and then start the exam. It will give you a gist of how it will work on the D-Day. So these are some of the tips which worked well for me. This might not work well for you, but I would say with mocks you'd understand what works well for you or not. Yeah, I think we'd be open to questions now.
Mr. Ashish, right now, I think you are already placed. Am I correct?
Yeah, please. Yeah, I'm going to work as a product manager.
Work as well.
I'm going to work as a product manager.
Product manager. Tell me about the profile.
So doing the role of what I do. So let's say we have a product. Let's say we have a product Edushastra app only.
Actually, you are working in
So
that website and everything.
a product manager
So the voice is
generally
breaking up.
will keep in mind. Okay. Am I audible now?
Yeah, please carry on.
Yeah. So I'll just give a gist of what a product manager generally do. He is an intersection between the business teams, the developers, and the customers. So generally for the EduShastra app, students would be the main users, and some faculty might be. So as a product manager, I should be coming with new features of what students might be needing. So I'd not be developing them, but keeping in mind of the business, what EduShastra needs and what students need. I would be designing new features. I would be making sure that these are launched in time, and keeping in mind with the business requirements.
Now, when we're looking at you, let's say, when you were starting the PGP and right now, Vasisht, what is the difference you see in your personality? Am I
Yeah, I
audible?
think definitely it's very different. It helped me evolve a lot. So yeah, you're audible. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're
Am I
audible.
audible right now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, initially when I used to think about some topic, let's say I used to think about, if I think about technology, I used to think about only in the perspective of software, since I was working in software. But later when I joined IMB, for example, there I understood that technology is not only software, even the little things which are present in our daily life is also technology. And it helped me evolve my perspective and very broadly, and seeing everyday daily things of how business work. Previously, I didn't have much idea of how business used to work, but once, even in my first year, I used to make sure of, I used to understand that many real life things are being can be explained some with some business principles of how things work. Let's say a automobile shop is placed in some area, you could see that many automobile shops will be placed in the same area again. So this can be explained with some business principle. So it even now when a new topic is given to me, I could even think from different perspectives of why things might work, why things doesn't work. So many people are skeptical even before doing their MBA. Does this work? Or even if they're having good salary, will it give the returns or not? So I definitely say don't go for the salary if that's the reason. Have some goal of like what you want to achieve. MBA will definitely provide some good learning if you're doing from a good university. I definitely saw a change in the education style going to a top college like I am Bangalore.
So, let me rephrase my point. Are you a better entrepreneur or are you a better manager right now? When you look
Sorry,
at
could
the
you come
difference
again?
of, let's say I'm looking at your difference pre-MBA and post-MBA, can I call you a better entrepreneur, any person who starts a business of their own, or are you a good manager, the person who will manage a kind of a specific area in a company, or what kind of I would say traits you have actually got from the PGP?
Uh, Specifically answering what traits that I got, I think
No, no,
firstly I understood
no,
is
no,
what the business scope is.
no, the question is, are you a better entrepreneur now, or you are a better manager right now?
I think I'll definitely say I am a better entrepreneur. I think for a manager, I think it's also needed that people managing skills. Right now, coming from MBA, I feel like I know what to design, what people need, how to launch the features. I mean, I never had experience with managing different people. So I feel as a product manager, even I would be working as like a mini entrepreneur inside a company where I would be launching different features. So sometimes these might work, these might not work. Sometimes these might completely fail for the company, and it might be a revenue burn for them. So I think with time you will understand like how to manage the people. And coming if but as a manager, I also think I can also work with how to manage different resources that are present in the company, and what are the different, let's say a manager also needs to manage business, the customers, the different teams that are present. That I could do, but managing the people, I think I'll definitely do with time. Right now, maybe I'm not better equipped. Once I go to the job, I could even also manage different folks that are working in my team.
Let's say you're handling a team, okay,
Yeah,
and everyone had a bad appraisal, no one got good money, okay.
yeah, yeah,
Can you tell me two ways to motivate the team?
yeah. I think we could definitely motivate them by saying what we are actually achieving for the customers. So instead of generically giving why we are not able to achieve, I think there will be different business reasons present. Like, let's say the market is not good, or we didn't get many profits.
Now, usse kya fayda? What did he give about? Employee is working for the consumer, or even they have their own things in their mind. Motivation comes with the salary part. Let's say they are not getting the salary. It
Yeah.
can happen in a company. Many of the big companies fail.
Yeah, I think maybe I would be doing this way is I would be
Let's say
asking.
let's say you're in Byju's right now.
Yeah.
You're not getting a salary, let's say. How you
Yeah.
motivate?
How do you? Could you come again?
How will you motivate the team?
Okay, so I would assume that at least if the individual is getting the salary, okay, even if he's not getting the salary, I think instead of generically putting an email that we are having a hard time, we are not able to pay the salaries, I'll talk with the individuals one-on-one basis of and try to explain the situation initially of why we are not able to pay the salaries or why there might be a delay currently. So next, I would be trying to motivate the individuals, telling that I know money is the main part of why individuals work these days, or for anyone, even for me. But maybe I'd be asking the individuals to give work on a product which might motivate them. So this way, at least, let's say if a employee is working in sales, and if let's say if he wants to pivot into some developer role, maybe I would be giving some chance to work on some different product. Since I'm not able to fulfill him with my salary, at least I'll help him in upgrading him his skills. This way, at least I'll help the employee personally. And I also feel that communication with the employee on a personal level is definitely needed when we are not able to satisfy them. So since I'm not able to give the money which is not in my control, I'll be doing things which are in my control. Let's say if he needs some skills upgradation by working in some team, maybe I'll do something like that.
So now going through the YouTube chatting question.
Yeah.
Most of the questions are actually relevant to the strategies. So you've already talked about it per section. So there is nothing. Someone is talking about quant, verbal, and everything. There is one even question about the motivation with the work. I think that's also you answer.
Yeah.
There is nothing which I'm able to pick, which is different. I've taken my my questions I've already asked.
Yeah.
So it was great talking to you. So we are concluding this session right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say all the best to every aspirant. I know that the journey is definitely difficult. I mean, it might not be difficult for some people who are naturally talented, but I would definitely say if you're genuinely interested, don't give up. It's a long journey, definitely. That's one. It's my third attempt. You could understand that when some folk like me was able to crack in third attempt, anyone can. I saw many people who came into IIMB in their fifth attempt even. So if you're genuinely interested, I would definitely advise not to give up. Meanwhile, if you're giving multiple mocks, multiple attempts, try to upgrade yourself with different MBA skills that are required, just not by working. And also, you could even reach out to me if you have any questions on LinkedIn. Yeah. All the best to you.
Nice talking to you. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.